start. Let me introduce myself. My name is Yulia. I'm Key Account Manager at Akurateco. Welcome to our short demo where we will provide you with more information about payment orchestration platform and its benefits for your business. If you have questions during our demo, please write it in the chat and I will answer it after the speech. For those that didn't participate in our previous meeting, in the previous series, we discussed how to organize all your payment methods from multiple sources and link it to desirable banks. We reviewed how routing and cascading rules can improve your approval rate up to 30% and decrease transaction cost. How to provide the best user experience with decline reasons management and induce your customer to make one more payment attempt. Also, advantages of custom payment pages and its significant impact on your conversion rate were highlighted. Today, we are to discuss how to protect your business with fraud protection software. Of course, when you are doing a business that is based on online payments or at least use such payments, you are running to achieve the best conversion rate. However, your profit always depends on two factors: conversion rate and fees that you need to pay. You might pay a lot in case you receive many chargebacks or potential fraud detections. Let's review what you can do with these rates and with these numbers of chargebacks and frauds using the payment orchestration platform. I will share my screen. So actually, anti-fraud is always related to chargebacks and fraudulent transactions. Chargeback is a charge that is returned to a payment card after a customer successfully disputes an item on their account statement or transaction report. A fraudulent transaction is the unauthorized use of an individual's accounts or payment information. Banks notify clients about possible fraudulent transactions, but it doesn't mean a reverse of funds in comparison with chargebacks. It's only notification. Usually it's called fraud advice. As these suspicious activities are counted in your account statistics in the bank, it might be also punished for such transactions later. Normal ratio for both parameters, I mean for chargeback ratio and fraud transactions ratio, is 1%. But banks on their side may have more tough rules. They are under the risk of processing traffic of multiple clients. And it's really important to keep your ratio as low as you can. Chargeback ratio is counted by number of such transactions. For example, five chargebacks per 100 successful transactions. And fraud advices are estimated in the total amount of processed funds. So let's say you have 4,000 USD of all potentially fraudulent transactions per 20,000 of USD of successful. In this way, ratio will be calculated. Chargebacks and frauds ratio may lead to your processing account suspension, to high penalties from the international payment systems and your banks, even to legal proceeding. A logical question: how to avoid it? The answer is anti-fraud plan. It's an overview of the efforts to prevent, detect, investigate potential fraud or chargebacks. Basically, it's the set of rules aimed to protect your business from suspicious operations and possible penalties for it. There are three basic types of anti-fraud rules: so-called stop rules, when you limit processing amounts, tries, number of tries from cards. Maybe some countries are in blacklist, in blocked list. Also blacklist and whitelist. Another one is external services that estimate the risk by scoring. Such systems are really reliable but need to be educated. They use historical and complex data for some period of time and will not be much effective from the very beginning of your processing journey. And the last type is chargeback prevented systems. They are not actually integrated to some systems, but they, I mean, like for our platform or other processing platform, but they have integration with a lot of issuing banks throughout the world, and they can notify you about upcoming chargeback like firstly before its chargeback is made. In this way you will be able to process a refund and avoid chargeback. Similar systems such as Etoka or Verify, but you also can search for others in the internet. Our payment orchestration system will help you with all aspects, so to protect you with all types of rules and suggest the most convenient anti-fraud tools. Here is our anti-fraud module. In our system, as probably those that already attended our meetings know, that everything is created by plus in the upper right corner. You can create any plan and assign it to merchant, to mapping, or to MID. Why you have these options? Because let's say you have the same set of rules per merchant, and you never mind if this merchant has one MID or two MID, different banks or whatever. So you have some specific set of rules just for merchant. In this case, it's logical to assign it per merchant entity. But in case your merchant is processing on different banks with different rules, you're doing different cascading and routing in the system, it's more convenient to have it on mapping or on specific MID. So your limits and your anti-fraud plans will be separated per each bank. The most commonly used tools are whitelists and blacklists. Let's review the list here. Please have a look at these modules, these sections on the left. Blacklists are generally classified as unsafe. So for example, if it's blacklist card, it means that this card was already detected in some fraudulent transaction, or the user of this card made too many chargebacks for some period, and you just do not want to take the risk and again process this card. On the other hand, whitelists are considered to be safe. So, for example, you already worked with this customer, you already had some payments with them, you know that they're reliable, they're not involved in any kind of frauds, etc., etc. So this is whitelists. As you see here, creating the anti-fraud plan, you may add some demo group, but I suggest to have a look at the process of adding something to blacklist. Let's add something to blacklist card. The principle is pretty straightforward and clear, so you just add the card PAN here, or by the way, you have an option also to add card mask. So if it's something that is not available for you, you have only 6 first and last 4 digits, you will be able to do it as well. Here you can specify if it will be applied only to one merchant, despite where you assign this merchant plan, or to all. And also we need to specify the blacklist group, which also will be used in the settings. Let's submit it. Now we go to our plans, and we can check that, for example, this test plan has the demo blacklist group where we added this card. So according to this plan, that card that we just added to the list must be blocked. Let's try to make some tests to see it on the example. I will assign it to my test merchant, In the merchant list, you will, in actions column, you will see such button as merchant anti-fraud plans. And again, with the plus, you will be able to assign it to the particular merchant. So it's done. Let's recheck here if in the list I have this group, everything is ready. So now, as we have in the system such tool as creating payment links to check out directly from the system, I simply come here, write something like test, 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 specify my amount, choose some currency, so I need to fill in into the mandatory fields. Simple name, whatever word, it's our test, and I can create payment link directly from the dashboard, which is really convenient for testing. Here I will open my checkout page, and I would like to check if this card was blocked, if I can process with it. I'm sorry, this is not here. So values in these fields, and I'm trying to pay. As you see, it showed me error, but in the system, in the transaction lists, we can see the exact reason. If we would like, we can also translate it for the system here. So our test merchant, our test email, everything that we inserted, our blacklisted card from here, as you see the same card. And the reason is card blacklisted, decline type, anti-fraud. So our rule worked as it must. Yes, it must be. Let's have another try just to see that another card will not be blocked. Let's say I'm doing it with another card. The same, I'm copying here, open a new page using another card which is not added to blacklist, and we will see the result in a few seconds. As you see, it's successful. It's my successful domain, and if we go to transactions and refresh it, we will see that this transaction with this card, which is not assigned to blacklist, is successful. As you see, Visa card is successful. With this MasterCard, it's failed. By the way, this failed transaction didn't go to the connector itself. So all the anti-fraud rules stop your processing inside our system. It means that you will not need to pay for transactions to your bank that you know for sure will not be approved. So you do not need to pay for extra declines. Let's go back to our anti-fraud. In the plans, we already reviewed how to create it. We can configure different plan modules. In actions, we have such button as configure plan modules. You might know that often banks enable not only like card blacklists or some whitelists, but the usual limit number of successful transactions, number of declined transactions, amount that is allowed to process per day. And all these rules will be available for you here. Let's say we have a rule that states you cannot process more than, I don't know, more than 5 successful transactions from one card during an hour. In this way, let's say it 4. So only 4 successful transactions from one card during the last hour. If you add this rule to the plan, it will be blocked after the 4 successful transactions. It could be different rules, by the way. You can like have 6 allowed declined transactions per the same card and email in combination, etc. So mostly bank check repeating parameters that detect suspicious activity, like from the same PC, if it's the same IP or the same card that might be stolen. So you're trying to make as many transactions as you have. So that is why in the rules we collected the most relevant and reasonable, like by card, email, IP, and by the way, by geolocation. So blocked countries, as you know, is also widely used anti-fraud rule. In the system, you can choose separately or geolocation, IP, and card brand blacklists separately, or you can choose, for example, country decline extended and play with this blocking rule in the system. Here you see 3 fields. The one is blocking by bins. If you have the list of the bin that you would like to block, list of IPs from some countries, you can choose these countries in the drop down, or the system will block transactions according to the billing address. So as you know, usually for some kind of transactions, you need to insert also your country, your state, your street, etc., etc. Let's say we will take US here, add it to our anti-fraud plan. As you see, by the way, in the order, it's really important the order of modules here, because firstly, as you see, we will check if the card is blacklisted. If the system detects that it's not blacklisted, it will check the next parameter. Here we have that we shouldn't process any transaction that is marked with a US country billing address. If system will find some matches, it will be declined. So let's submit. And I will use my postman. Don't be surprised with it, because I would like to add, I would like to show you that we can right now process with a Visa card that we already saw as successful, but actually, if I'm specifying here US, it must be declined. So let's try here. In the postman, there is no such convenient button as I had in the dashboard. So here I open it, come to my account, Visa card that was successful the previous time, insert in here, and press submit. Again, it's declined. We are going to transactions and might see that it was declined due to unsupported country anti-fraud plan. So the type is anti-fraud, and this country was blocked. It's not supported by your gateway, and you're not allowing to process with it. As you see, it's really simple constructor that you can use for such purposes, but it's not all for our system. If you review all the modules here, You may find such modules as Fraudio and MaxMind, for example. These are the services that are currently, here it is, Fraudio risk score and MaxMind risk score. So these modules currently integrate these services, are integrated to the system. And this is actually what I told you about the services that can score the risk of this transaction. They're automated, and then they can estimate a transaction risk score by cross-checking different parameters and international information from banks, acquirers, user transaction history, etc. But the only disadvantage that they need to be educated with your transaction history. So they will need then to compare different parameters of your previously processed system or previously processed transaction. But with this calculation, they evaluate what is the risk that this particular transaction will be detected as fraud or will be reversed as chargeback. As you see, the score is different. It could be from 1 to 100, or it could be from 0 to 1, depending on the system. Fraudio and MaxMind are available in our system right now, but per your request, we will be able to add whatever you need. The same with those services such as Etoka or V5 that can prevent chargebacks by notifying you about some upcoming chargebacks. As I told, they have really good network with issuing banks, and once just request from cardholder received, so this cardholder would like to request this chargeback, Etoka or similar system will know about it and they will notify you. So you will do a refund and you will not receive chargeback, any fee, and your ratio will be 0. You're clear and kind as a child. So you see a lot of rules of anti-frauds, and you can play with it really as you wish, but you need to remember one important thing. When you're doing all these rules, let's say you set up it, you tested it, but you always should keep an eye on it. Why? Because something is changing on the bank, something is changing in the rules, or maybe you're creating too tough rules that really like cut your profit, cut the transaction that you might have the profit from. In this case, it's better always to monitor it all. By the way, in our company, we also have the monitoring team that are taking their hand on the pulse of transactions each day, and they will be able to advise you if there is some suspicious decline reason, maybe some weird decline reason that might state that there is some technical issue, or that you have too many anti-fraud declines and your merchant may be unsatisfied with it, so you need to notify this merchant again about the rules, so they will filter it and will not send transaction that will be declined for sure. So monitoring is also an answer. It's real helper for your anti-fraud rules once you established it. But if we're speaking about technical side, I mean like setting up these rules, yes, you enable all the rules in one place. And in this way, you enable orchestrating magic, as we call it. Using our system, you will protect your business from potential losses and penalties, and also decrease per transaction cost. Isn't it a reason to use the payment orchestrating platform? I suppose that it's a good one. Now, once my speech has ended, I told everything that I wanted to tell you today. I can stop sharing my screen and check the chat. If you have some questions, you're welcome to write it down right now, Or in case if it come to your mind later, it's always like this, you will be able to contact us by the contact form on the main website, or you can contact us in the LinkedIn. You may find a lot of our team members there that are always ready to help you with all the questions and assist with all the related problems, issues that may arise. We are always open to cooperation. As I see, there are no questions in the chat, so it means that my speech was really clear and straightforward, so you got everything. In this case, thank you for your time. I hope that it was fruitful and useful, and you will come back with more questions and we will help you. Of course, thank you too. Thank you. Take your time, take a rest, have a nice day, evening, whatever your time zone is, and we will be glad to see you on the next demo. Please don't forget to register. Bye bye.